Pretty discs fly farther. This is a statement I've said to people hundreds of times at our pop-up shops. And each time I say it, I laugh and they laugh and we go our separate ways. But then I'm left wondering, do pretty discs really fly farther? I guess we'll find out, because the plastic is in the details. Hey everyone, it's Greg from Six Sided Discs. Today's test is by far the most subjective, opinion, sort of least factual test we've ever done. But it's one of those sayings that I hear all the time, and I say all the time, and it warrants our attention. So how do we go about this? Well, it's pretty simple. I have a whole bunch of discs. We have the robotic arm of Six Sided Discs, Caleb Thomas, and we'll hand him some discs, and he tells us which one is prettier. And off we go. Discs get 3 throws each, we take the best distance, and that's that. Let's get started with a pair of drivers, the Omen from Thought Space Athletics. This pair is a Nebula ethereal plastic, and Caleb is under strict instructions. Hold up the one that he thinks is prettier. Rated at 9404, the Omen isn't exactly designed for distance, it's designed for reliable overstability. But nevertheless, we want to know if it flies as good as it looks. And he seems to prefer the red one in our first test, so let's see which one flies farther. Caleb's preferred red Omen gets a bit of glide, a slight skip, and finishes at 308 feet. While the blue Omen carries a little farther, gets a big skip, and scoots its way out to 340 feet. So in test number 1, it's a point to the ugly ducklings. Lots of people seem to think pretty discs fly farther, but does that apply to recycled plastic? To find out, we'll need a word from today's sponsor, Ocean Discs. Ocean Discs is making sure you don't miss the release of the first ever disc made from recycled ocean waste plastic, the Sea Turtle. The Sea Turtle is a straight to slightly overstable midrange that comes in 3 different plastics. Their standard premium plastic, Swirly Atlantic, as well as their premium recycled blend, Ocean Waste Pacific, and base recycled blend, Ocean Waste Marine. But which one is prettier to you? Off the tee, the Ocean Waste Pacific Sea Turtle cruises to a distance of 327 feet, while the arguably prettier Swirly Atlantic Sea Turtle creeps just past that to 330 feet. In this case, it might be too close to call. The Sea Turtle gets very respectable distance for a midrange, but it was designed to have a smooth, controllable flight path to help you navigate tight-wooded fairways and hit gaps with ease. The Ocean Disc Sea Turtle is available at sixsideddiscs.com while supplies last. And when we run out, you can find a list of participating retailers on Ocean Discs' website. Both links are in the video description. Huge thanks to Ocean Discs for once again supporting our channel. Grab a Sea Turtle today in ocean waste plastic and start making waves in the world of disc golf. Before we get into more of our tests, we need to consider our original statement. Pretty discs fly farther. Why would pretty discs fly farther? There isn't anything specifically unique or different about the disc physically other than its appearance. All of the discs we're testing today are in the same plastics. Most of them are the same weight, and if they aren't, they're only 1 to 2 grams different. So I ask again, why would a pretty disc fly farther? The answer? Psychology. Specifically, sports psychology. Professional sports teams from the NFL, the Premier League, Major League Baseball, as well as Olympic athletic teams and individuals have full-time sports psychologists on staff. And it is widely accepted in sports psychology that self-belief, or what they call elevated self-efficacy belief, is beneficial to a player's performance. An excellent article on the topic is available on Smithsonian Magazine's website at the link in the description. It refers to a 2023 review of a psychology journal related to sports psychology and athletic performance. They make reference to these self-efficacy beliefs in their conclusion. Quote, "There appear to be a cluster of psychological processes that allow athletes to thrive. These include striving for excellence, provided that such pursuits are not accompanied by perfectionistic concerns, and holding firm efficacy beliefs, provided that individuals have sufficient information to ensure that those beliefs are well-grounded." Or to simplify, self-belief is good if it's well-grounded or realistic. So does believing one will throw a pretty disc farther qualify as a well-grounded belief, that's probably open to interpretation. And of course, I'm not a psychologist, so I'll stick to being an amateur disc golf comparative analyst, and we will comparatively analyze a couple of discs from Kastaplast. Here is the Berg. Yes, the Berg isn't known for flying far with flight numbers of 1102, why would it be? But that doesn't mean we can't see if a pretty one flies farther. And there wasn't much of a contest here, of course. Caleb preferred this beautiful dyed Berg. Shout out to my friend James, who gave me this one. Off the tee, this perfectly fine and nice purple K1 Berg flew an incredible 261 feet, while this fancy dyed certified pretty Berg blitzes its way to a massive 265 feet. It may only be 4 feet farther, but it still counts. So that's 1 point to the pretty discs, 1 point to the ugly ducklings. Let's bump up to a 4-speed approach disc for our next comparison. It's the Discraft Zone. Here with a couple options in Jawbreaker plastic, Caleb prefers the pink Game of Zones Ledgestone Zone, available now at sixsideddiscs.com, over this boring, plain gray stock Jawbreaker Zone, also available at sixsideddiscs.com. So will the pretty disc prevail? Well, this time the gray Jawbreaker Zone comes out on some hyzer, but pushes forward just a smidge before a big skip and slide, and that's how you get a zone to 278 feet. Not bad. But what about the pretty zone? Well, Caleb must have been feeling something special about this pretty zone, because instead of that near instant fade that the gray zone had, this one flips up and pushes and skips to a huge 366 feet. Whoa. That's a pretty big win for the pretty disc. But let's see another driver with the Proton Trace from Streamline. Rated at 11.5, -1.2, these traces sadly didn't arrive in time for our Flight Numbers Don't Matter Wraith comparison recently. Caleb has a red and purple one to choose from, and yes, purple is always the correct choice. Or was it? The red Proton Trace gets a little turn, holds that for a moment before fading, skipping off the edge of the hill, and flying down into the bushes at 455 feet. While the purple Trace never gets any turn, Caleb's best throw with it was a bit higher, but a lot of glide, and a slow fade to just 436 feet. And so the ugly ducklings tie it up 2-2. Let's try out a mid-range this time with the Axiom Proton Pyro. And this is a bit of a toss-up. Will Caleb go for the mysterious smoky red or the vibrant yellow and orange?
I mean, this, duh.
And let's see these two pyros side by side. And boy, is it a close one. They both come out on nearly the exact same angle and height, pushing straight, but one pushes for a fraction longer. The yellow pyro comes in with a distance of 355 feet, while the red prism proton comes in with 336 feet, making the pretty disc the winner yet again. That's 3 pretty, 2 ugly, and 1 segue for us to move on to another pair of putters. Let's see the Roach from Discraft. And this is a tough one. Both of these discs are pretty in my opinion, but you can't deny there's just something about pink discs. And Caleb thinks so too. Rated at 2401, the Roach is as popular for throwing as it is for putting, so let's see how these two fly off the tee. The orange Roach comes out on a slight hyzer, but holds and pushes forward before finishing at 362 feet, a very respectable distance for a putter. While the pink Roach also comes out on hyzer, maybe a little higher, and while the higher Trace didn't go as far earlier, the higher Roach pulls ahead by just 3 feet to finish at 365. So the Roach extends the lead for pretty discs to 4 points to 2. Let's see another disc from Discraft, the Athena. Rated at 7502, the Athena is a T-Bird-esque fairway driver from the Paul Macbeth line. And this time we're throwing Caleb a bit of a curveball because in my opinion, neither of these are very pretty. And to be honest, I was really trying to get Caleb to pick a green disc, but no, he's not interested. He prefers this yellow Athena. So let's see which one is going the distance. Side by side, both of the Athenas come out on hyzer, but the green Athena on your right just flips up to flat momentarily, long enough for it to get a straighter flight and a forward skip at the end, putting the yellow pretty Athena at 374, but the green ugly Athena at 389. And so the ugly discs pull a point back, and we move on to our only set of 3 discs, the Plasma Soft Watt from MVP. This is the recently released MVP Open Special Edition Watt, rated at 2.5, negative 0.5, 0.5. Many people refer to the Watt as a max weight glitch, but it didn't really fly much like a glitch for us today. So when you're more focused on distance, which one goes farther? Brown, green, or blurple? Well, perhaps unsurprisingly, Caleb prefers the blurple Watt, so let's see what they can do. The brown Watt gets some decent hang time, but starts to fade pretty early in its flight, while the blurple Watt didn't get much air at all and didn't get any turn. And the green Watt gets some air and some turn, which could make for an excellent combination. The final distances on the Watts: brown at 339, blurple at 337, and green at 343. A super close race this time, but pretty comes last against 2 ugly discs. So that's 2 points to the ugly ducklings. After all, I devised this game, so I get to decide how the points work, right? And that means the ugly ducklings lead 5 points to 4 with 4 discs remaining. But this next pair is a doozy. These are Z-Glow Fly Die Nukes. Another pair of Ledgestone releases from this year. Yes, we have lots of Ledgestone discs in stock. And yes, if you watch this video until the end, there's a secret discount code. 20% off. Anyways, the Nuke, rated at 13.5, negative 1.3, technically has the most distance potential of any disc we've tested today. But more importantly, which one's prettier? Caleb opts for the rainbow swirl over the American flag, so let's see which one goes far. Once again, Caleb does great to put these on a similar line. A slight hyzer allows the Nuke to flip up and glide a bit before that late fade kicks in, and a decent skip for each. And this is looking like a toss-up. The pretty rainbow Nuke puts in a respectable 421 feet, while the American flag die came up just short with 409 feet. Which means the pretty discs tie the game at 5 points apiece. Next, let's see basically the exact same disc we saw earlier, but from a different brand. It's the Mint Discs Phoenix. Effectively the same mold as the Thought Space Omen, the Phoenix has slightly different flight numbers at 9304 instead of 9404. But either way, it's still designed for beefiness rather than distance-ness. So, which of these swirly Apex Phoenixes is prettiest? And yeah, that's a slam dunk, obviously. Let's not count this green Phoenix out just yet, though. Green discs have performed well so far. The green Watt and Athena both flew farther. Both Phoenix come out on hyzer, hold that hyzer, and get to the ground in a hurry. And while they didn't go far, they were at least consistent. The green Phoenix turned in at 328 feet, while the pretty orange Phoenix held on just a little longer for 350 feet. 2 discs remain. Pretty discs have retaken the lead 6-5, but there's still time for those ugly ducklings to make a comeback. Let's see our last driver, the Discraft Vulture. This is the lightweight ESP Vulture release from Ledgestone earlier this year. Yes, we still have some of these as well. It's rated at 10.502 and weighs in at 160 to 63 grams each. And we're expecting big things. But you know the drill, which one is prettier? And yeah, we couldn't agree more. The pretty pink Vulture from Caleb's natural hyzer release flips up to flat, holds straight for a moment, before fading out and delivering an impressive 408 feet. Meanwhile, the green Vulture from the same angle gets no turn at all. Instead, it just holds that hyzer angle and comes up short at 380 feet. And that gives Pretty Discs a 2-point lead going into our final matchup. So will the Ugly Ducklings close the gap and make this a bit of a toss-up overall? Or will the Pretty Discs extend their lead? Let's see if the Discraft Buzz SS can deliver a definitive result. Rated at 5.4, -2.1, the Buzz SS is, in the right plastic at least, a super straight mid-range. And today we have got two great options. First up is a Z-Die Buzz SS. Very pretty indeed. But it's competing with a Z Buzz SS that has something most of these other discs don't have. Nostalgia. And I don't know if you've heard, but nostalgia is in. This disc is from our local A tier, the Brent Hembrick Memorial Open, and is a whopping 12 years old. This event has been put on for the last 27 years, if I'm counting correctly, and we've been honored to sponsor it for the last 3 years. But its future is somewhat in doubt, because construction that's going to be happening at Hoover Reservoirs Dam, which is where the park is located, is going to close this course for up to 4 years. And this is of course bringing up strong emotions from our local disc golf community, of which Caleb and I of course are very much a part of. But I reminded Caleb he is picking the pretty disc, not the most nostalgic. So despite his admiration and appreciation for this older Buzz SS, he's going with the Z-Die. Side by side, both Buzz SS flip up from hyzer, start with a nice slow turn before fading forward, and that's how you get smooth, straight distance. Our nostalgic Brent Hembrick Buzz from 2012 puts up a very respectable 418 feet. And for the Z-Die Buzz, 420 feet to take down the win by just 2 feet. And with a final score of 8-5, and that of course includes the Watt scoring 2 points for the Ugly Ducklings, the Pretty Discs prevail. However, I'm not sure that I'm ready to say that Pretty Discs fly farther. Most of these Pretty Discs were ahead by incredibly fine margins. 3 feet for the Roach, 2 feet for the Buzz SS. And that margin of error is so small. We're talking a light breeze, a slight gust of wind, a change in the humidity, a slight adjustment in Caleb's throw or how his foot slips on the grass. Just about anything could change that result. And I'm quite confident if we were to throw all these discs again, we could get a completely different result. However, there's no denying that your confidence and self-belief can give you an edge on the course, just like your lack of confidence or self-belief can hold you back. So throw discs that make you feel confident, and if they happen to be prettier, maybe they'll just fly a little farther. Do pretty discs fly farther for you? Leave a comment down below. And also comment below what other plastic-related tests and comparisons we should do next. For Six-Sided Discs, I'm Greg. We'll see you in the next one.
Clearly, that one's pretty.
You almost had me. Had me in the first half, not gonna lie.
And each time I say it, they laugh and I laugh and we go our separate ways. But I always get annoyed when that fan turns on in the background.
Ready?
This isn't even a question. Purple all the way. For Six-Sided.
And each time I say it, they laugh and I laugh and we all have a great time. And then we go our...
I bagged this one. I'm gonna stay this one. Yeah, I like that. This is too blends in with the ground.
Honestly, they're both ugly.
Yeah, they're horrifying. This is sick. This orange one. I mean, this. Duh. Are you kidding me? This is sick.
For Six-Sided Discs, I'm Greg. We'll see you in the next one. Stop. If you like this content and want to see more, please consider liking the video, subscribing to our channel, or supporting us on Patreon. Your support makes this content possible.